Welcome to my channel. If you like the content, please subscribe for more.
Finally confirmed that my wife is a cheater via PIT. Throwaway account here. I'm in a tough spot right now. I found out that my wife, who is 30 years old, cheated on me. It's been 2 years since we got married, and I never thought something like this could happen to me again. It's been a tough pill to swallow, but I'm trying to come to terms with it. For the past few months, things have been weird between us. We weren't as intimate as we used to be, and whenever I initiated anything, she would turn me away saying she was tired or not in the mood. She started coming home later from work and lying to me about it. I remember one instance when I came home early to surprise her, only to find our 17-month-old son with the babysitter. She acted surprised and said she forgot to let me know she was busy at work. It all started to add up, and I knew something wasn't right. I didn't bother checking her phone or anything like that. I just let it go on until I decided to hire a private investigator to confirm my suspicions. It took him less than a week to catch her in the act, meeting up with a man in a parking lot and having S-time with him in the brand new car that I bought her for her birthday. It was gut-wrenching to watch the footage. When I confronted her, she came clean about everything. She admitted that her affair partner was a co-worker and they had been having a physical affair for the past 4 months. She was very apologetic, screaming, crying, and asking me to forgive her several times. She said she was going to end it, but she was scared and didn't know how. I decided it was best for her to stay somewhere else until I make up my mind about what the next step will be. I also found out that she faked a work trip and took her affair partner on vacation with my hard-earned money. It was like a slap in the face. I've always done everything I can to make her happy, to be there for her. I know I'm not perfect, but I don't think I deserve any of this. It's hard for me to finally see that everyone who warned me about marrying her was probably right. I've worked really hard for the past 30 years to get to where I am in my life right now. I went through a nasty divorce 15 years ago, and here I go again. I guess the only good things that I got out of this are my son and a solid prenup. It's a tough situation, but I'm trying to stay strong. Redditor's reactions. Next story after. Redditor 1. It sounds like she's well taken care of financially by you. So she gets your wallet and gets the D elsewhere. I'm sorry, that's what it looks like. Op answer. You're right. I was doing everything that I can for her but took advantage of that. Redditor 2. If the colleague is married, inform his family and workplace. Run Steed tests. Have the child do a DNA test. If you are married to cheating women, you should always have your children DNA tested. Enjoy your new life. Redditor 3. Your partner's infidelity is never your fault. You could have been the worst spouse possible, but all that does is give your partner the right to leave the relationship. It's not a F whomever you want card. They cheat to satisfy their own emotional shortcoming. It has nothing to do with you. They are just lousy people whom betray the one person whom they swore to never hurt just to satisfy their own selfishness. Infidelity is the most intimate betrayal imaginable. The wayward partner has knowingly and intentionally caused their partner pain, misery, and suffering just so the wayward partner can satisfy their own selfishness. It's never a mistake. It's an intentional choice every time. Infidelity is a hard line of no return. If they cheat, the relationship is over. No questions, no discussions, no discussions. Done. Reconciliation fails in over 90s of cases. It fails because the betrayed partner likely can never overcome that level of betrayal. They are stuck with the images in their heads of their partners engaged in S-time with the app, their partners doing S-timual acts with their apps that they refuse to do with them. That's hard to overcome. Further, most cheaters won't do the work necessary to learn why they cheated and fix the issue. So, odds are very high that they'll simply cheat again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Nope, if they cheat, it's over. Your Stubaksu is only apologetic because she got caught. She had no intention of ending her affair. She likely still won't. Even if she says she will, she'll just get better at hiding it. Nope, it's time to divorce her and move on and be the best dad you can be. I would also blow up their job by filing a complaint with her. I'm sure their company has a no fraternization policy in place which they violated. Story 2. Hi, I am a 36-year-old elementary school teacher named Kevin. Jane and I have been married for several years, but we have not yet begun a family. We each have our own interests and pursuits, but we enjoy traveling and discovering new things together. As I approach my late 30s, however, the subject of having children has become more pressing. I had intended to have an in-depth discussion with Jane about starting a family, but something else came up. The discovery of blood in my stool was quite alarming. This was quite unexpected, as I have always been in good physical condition and have never had serious health issues. I researched my symptoms online and discovered that I may have colon cancer. I was unable to avoid worrying about the worst-case scenario. On my day off, as I sat at home by myself, all I could think about were potential negative outcomes. As soon as Jane returned from work, I felt relieved to have someone to converse with. I informed her of my symptoms, and she responded with surprise and concern. "It's not yet certain, is it?" Jane asked. "It is merely a possibility." These words were a small solace, but I continued to feel uneasy. I knew I needed to be examined, so I informed Jane that I needed to go to the hospital. "I've been feeling ill recently, and everything hurts slightly. I'm concerned, but I dislike hospitals, so I've avoided going." Unfortunately, Jane has been experiencing stomach issues for some time and has been reluctant to visit the hospital. She has a profound phobia of them and becomes hysterical upon seeing a needle. However, I persuaded her that we should travel together. Jane received a quick injection of a small amount of anesthetic and a gastroscopy at the hospital. We discussed her fear of hospitals in advance, so the doctors were able to make her as comfortable as possible during the procedure. As I observed her sleeping, I was unable to shake the anxiety that had been mounting since the day of our physical examinations. James had passed his examination without incident, but my heart was pounding as I approached the examination table. Even though I had not had any bloody stools since the examination, I continued to feel uneasy. I cherished the children in my elementary school and aspired to have children of my own one day. The mere thought of cancer was frightening. I therefore took the examination with a prayer in my heart, hoping for the best. Fortunately, my examination was also completed without incident, and we left the hospital together 10 days later, eagerly awaiting the results. During those 10 days, I attempted to maintain a positive outlook, but my anxiety and restlessness continued to intensify. When I asked Jane how she was feeling, she appeared unconcerned and made light of her condition. I could not tell if she was serious or not, and I was annoyed that she was not taking her health seriously. As the day of the results drew near, I inquired if Jane had taken the day off to accompany me. However, she appeared annoyed and unconcerned about the significance of being there for one another. I attempted to persuade her, but she appeared indifferent towards her own health. It made me question her motives and whether she was concealing something. Despite her indifference, I knew I had to be there for us both. So I took a half day off from work and traveled alone to the hospital, hoping for positive news. At 3:55 p.m., I waited for Jane to join me in the examination room, but she didn't show up. I tried calling her, but she didn't answer, which made me wonder if she was avoiding this appointment. Eventually, I entered the examination room alone, and the doctor questioned where Jane was. They mentioned that they preferred both of us to be present when they revealed the results, which made me anxious. I couldn't help but think that I might have cancer, and my heart began to pound rapidly. The doctor's mysterious tone didn't help either. When they finally disclosed the results, I was shocked and barely able to hold it together. I left the room feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how to tell Jane. After I got home, I waited for Jane to return, wondering how I should break the news to her. Suddenly, the sound of the door unlocking made me jump, and when Jane walked in, she asked me about the result. When I told her that I didn't have cancer, she appeared relieved, but I then exclaimed that I only had 6 months left to live. Her reaction surprised me as she looked happy. which was the opposite of what I expected. I started to feel like something was wrong, so I asked her if she knew who had only 6 months left to live. She responded that it was me, and I was stunned that she had known all along. She even said that it was perfect without any remorse. Confused, I asked her to explain, but it turned out that she had mistaken the news as an opportunity to start over and live life to the fullest, rather than being concerned about my impending death. I couldn't believe the things my wife had just confessed to me. After finding out that I had only 6 months left to live, she had revealed that she had been cheating on me and that she had been cheating on me and that she had married me for my money. It was a betrayal that left me feeling both shocked and angry. I couldn't believe that the woman I had trusted and respected had been using me all along. Now that Jane knew about my diagnosis, she no longer felt the need to pretend to care about me. She spent our money on herself and her lover, leaving me feeling sick to my stomach. I was determined to get revenge on her, to use her own misunderstandings against her. But when Jane came home after a month, I was still taken aback by her callousness. Instead of showing concern for me, she just wanted to know how much time I had left. And when I accused her of not caring, she only responded by saying that she couldn't wait until I was gone. It was then that I noticed she had seen my new shoes. I had bought them for myself as a small comfort in the face of my impending death. But to Jane, they were just another opportunity to mock me and belittle my feelings. I knew then that I had to leave Jane and start anew. I couldn't spend my last days with someone who didn't care for me, someone who saw me as nothing more than a means to an end. So I took my new shoes and walked out the door, ready to face whatever lay ahead on my own. I pleaded with Kevin not to spend money because my inheritance would decrease. I chuckled, imagining how fortunate it was that we didn't have children because my inheritance would have been divided in half. Later that day, she returned home just to confirm whether I was still alive and quickly left for her lovers. That night, I called my mother-in-law to tell her everything. "Hello, Mom. Did you receive the diagnosis? I'm sure it comes as a shock, but it's the truth," I started. Jane's mother has always been practical and kind to me. "What's wrong, Mom?" she asked. "I mean, Kevin only has 6 months to live. Despite that, he seems to be in good spirits," she tried to joke with her mother. Then she looked at me and asked, "Kevin, how long are you going to live? Have you made sure to leave your assets behind? Stop pushing yourself to the brink. I'll be waiting, you know." It was an insult, and I couldn't take it anymore. "Jane, you're really the worst. I don't want to be with you, even for a second longer. Let's get a divorce," I started the conversation. "I want to be free too by getting a divorce. But if we divorce before you go to the grave, I won't get my inheritance. That's why I'm going to wait for you to die." I shielded myself. I looked at Jane and informed her that now that we were strangers, everything was in order, and I would file the divorce papers. I asked her if she was okay with that, and she responded affirmatively. I then placed a piece of paper in front of her and requested that she examine it closely. She regarded the paper with a bewildered expression and argued that it was a forgery. However, I informed her that it was true, and that her mother had even confirmed that she had only 6 months to live due to stomach cancer. I remarked sarcastically that she would have to endure numerous painful injections in the hospital, which she despised. I also informed her that we were now strangers, and that she should enter the hospital alone. Jane burst into tears and stated that she despised the idea of being alone in the hospital, just as I was about to bring up alimony. I informed her that I would sue her and her unfaithful partner for alimony, despite her tears. She attempted to argue that there was no such thing as alimony money, but when I brought it up, her face turned pale. She then proposed that we refrain from divorcing because she was unaware that she had only 6 months to live, but I revealed that she had already signed the divorce papers. To prove it, I opened the will and showed her that if anything were to happen to me, her inheritance would not go to her at all. In addition, I played a recording of Jane agreeing to the divorce, which left her stunned. I informed her that if she attempted to invalidate the divorce, I would use the recording as evidence of our agreement. Once upon a time, I was a complete stranger to you. The cruel words you spoke to me, however, will not be forgotten. If you die alone in this world, it will not be a surprise. I confronted Jane about her infidelity and initiated the divorce process immediately after. I formally requested alimony through an attorney after the divorce papers were accepted. My ex-wife was ordered to pay $20,000, while her partner who cheated was ordered to pay $10,000. James was initially hesitant to pay, but her mother eventually persuaded her to do so. The unfaithful partner was also hesitant to pay out of fear that his employer would discover his infidelity. However, they both received their due punishment. I am now surrounded by my lovely students and am living a fulfilling life. I hope to meet a kind person and start my own family one day. Jane was taken to the hospital by her mother, albeit in a half-hearted manner. She now leads a solitary existence in the hospital. I've also heard that when Jane's boyfriend discovered she had only 6 months to live, he abruptly ended their relationship. It is unfortunate that Jane is undergoing medical treatment at the hospital that she despises, all by herself. It was a difficult time for me, but I'm thankful that I've moved on and am now living a fulfilling life. I have learned the importance of standing up for oneself and not allowing others to bring you down. The experience taught me a valuable lesson, and as a result, I am now stronger and more knowledgeable. I hope that anyone experiencing a similar circumstance will find the fortitude to persevere and overcome their obstacles. I showed my wife my last will and testament, and the envelope I had prepared. Even if we get a divorce, I've written a will so that my inheritance will still go to you. You wouldn't have to deal with the funeral arrangements after I'm gone. After we divorce, you'll be a stranger to me, so you don't have to do anything. Jane's face lit up and she said, "Suddenly, Kevin, you're so considerate. All right, let's get divorced." She immediately filled out and signed the divorce paper. As I spoke, my heart ached more, and I opened up about the mistreatment I received from Jane. "Kevin, I'm so sorry for the terrible things our selfish daughter has done. She never used to be like that, but I'm so stunned I don't even know what to say." Her mother apologized on Jane's behalf. She even offered her help, and I knew I had gained a strong ally in my quest for revenge against my wife. 2 months passed, and it was time to confront Jane. I asked her to come over on Sunday, and I also invited her mother. Jane was surprised to see her mother at my house.